At the beginning of the movie, we are dropped into a future that did not go well for humanity. Shocking, I know. Turns out launching nuclear bombs at each other had consequences. Who could have predicted that? After a catastrophic global war reduced most of the world to rubble and glowing craters, humanity somehow crawled its way back from the edge of extinction. But the world that rebuilt itself looked nothing like the one before. We are introduced to a society split clean down the middle, not by race, not by religion, but by DNA. On one side, you have the genetics, people whose DNA has been scientifically enhanced, stronger, smarter, better looking, probably. They run the cities, the governments, the institutions. They are basically the VIP section of the human race, and they know it. On the other side, you have the specials, regular, unmodified human beings, no upgrades, no enhancements. Just plain old human DNA, the kind that got humanity to the moon and back but apparently is now considered embarrassing. In this new world, specials are treated like an inconvenience at best and a burden at worst. They live in crumbling districts, pass through security checkpoints just to move around their own city, and are reminded daily that they are at the bottom of the food chain. And right at the very bottom of that bottom, that's where we find our guy. We are introduced to Leon, a special, a paraplegic janitor who mops floors at the most prestigious genetic research facility in the world, the Genesis Institute. Now, before you feel too sorry for him, just hold on, because Leon is hiding something underneath that quiet, unassuming janitor uniform, and it is absolutely wild. One ordinary day at the Genesis Institute, a group of student visitors arrives for a guided tour. Their guide walks them through the history of this gleaming, ultra-modern facility, explaining how 65 years ago, after the bombs stopped falling and the smoke cleared, a visionary scientist named Liam Smith helped put civilization back together. His greatest discovery? A flower. Not just any flower. A flower that sprouted out of nuclear wreckage like nature was personally trolling humanity, delicate and beautiful, growing out of pure destruction. This flower, called the Genesis flower, turned out to be a powerhouse of energy. It could generate enough power to replace every energy source known to man. It was, in short, the most valuable plant on Earth, and the Genesis Institute had been sitting on it ever since. While the tour guide is enthusiastically explaining all of this, Leon is not mopping floors, he is executing a heist. With the help of his adoptive sister Chloe, who has cleverly positioned herself as one of the visiting students, Leon hacks into the lab's security systems and slips into a restricted area. Two guards stand between him and his goal. His solution? A tiny remote-controlled toy mouse loaded with sleeping gas. He sends the little mouse waddling toward the guards. They pick it up, because apparently even elite security guards cannot resist a cute toy, and within seconds, they are both face down, unconscious, and completely useless. Absolutely beautiful strategy. Leon then connects a cylinder of the same sleeping gas to the laboratory's oxygen supply. One by one, every scientist inside drifts off to a very involuntary nap. The lab falls silent. The coast is clear. But then, classic heist problem, he hits a locked door and has no idea what the code is. He calls Chloe, and here is where things get even more entertaining. Back on the tour, the guide has moved on to explaining how parents in this world can purchase genetic upgrades for their children at birth. Stronger bones, superior intellect. Basically, a premium package deal for your baby. But specials? Their bodies reject those modifications entirely, leaving them permanently behind. One student on the tour decides this is the perfect moment to loudly announce that specials are worthless and should simply be discarded. Bold choice, sir. Because Chloe, who has been quietly simmering, absolutely loses it. A full argument breaks out, then pushing. Then, it's basically a brawl in the middle of a corporate tour. A security guard rushes in to break it up, and while every single pair of eyes in the room is focused on the chaos, Chloe's hand slips into the guard's pocket and lifts his notebook, the one containing every access code in the building. She texts the correct code to Leon without even blinking. Leon enters the main lab and comes face to face with something extraordinary, a massive glass dome housing a living Genesis flower tree, glowing with quiet, terrifying power. He pulls a lever, cracks the dome open with a glass cutter, and extracts a small sample of the flower. And then, because no heist can go completely smoothly, the alarm screams to life. Security floods the exits. Everyone is being searched. Leon walks out calmly, joins the inspection queue like a man who has absolutely nothing to hide, and when he passes Chloe, he accidentally bumps into her and drops her teddy bear. As he picks it up and hands it back, the Genesis sample disappears inside the stuffed animal. Slick, borderline theatrical. He almost makes it out without a hitch, until a guard stops him because of a strange noise coming from his coat. The entire scene tightens. This is the moment everything could collapse. But Leon reaches into his coat and pulls out an old ticking watch, his mother's watch, engraved on it, in simple letters, "We are all equal." The guard looks at it, laughs, waves him through, and with that, Leon and Chloe walk out of the most secure genetics lab on the planet carrying their prize, with nothing but a toy mouse and a teddy bear to thank. A few hours later, we are introduced to the world Leon and Chloe actually go home to. After meeting briefly at the main square, where a billboard announces a concert by Morose, a genetics pop star famous for wanting to connect with specials, they make their way back to the special district. It is not pretty. Buildings scarred by the old nuclear war, cracked walls, makeshift shelters, security checkpoints at every corner, as if the residents need reminding that they are watched, catalogued, and tolerated at best. It is the kind of neighborhood that makes you angry just looking at it. Back home, Chloe catches a news segment featuring Senator Kessler, a smooth-talking politician unveiling something called Proposal 42, a plan to create a compound that could theoretically convert specials into genetics, equal rights through science, no more two-tier society. Chloe's eyes light up. Hope, real hope. Leon's face, flat, completely unconvinced. He knows the senator. He says, without hesitation, that those are the words of a man who has absolutely no intention of following through. But here is where it gets interesting, because their actual home is hiding something remarkable. Behind the ordinary walls, Leon has been quietly building his own private laboratory, prosthetics, robotic components, mechanical armor, and Chloe has been running her own botanical experiments on plants. These two are not your average struggling specials. They are geniuses operating completely under the radar. Now, with the Genesis flower sample in hand, Leon gets to work. He extracts a high-energy compound from the plant, and almost overnight, their little underground operation transforms. Word spreads. Customers come. Robotic parts, energy charges, upgrades for people the system abandoned long ago. Business is booming. That night, Leon gets a call. A cook in the genetics district, the wealthy, gleaming, off-limits part of the city, says his exoskeleton is failing and begs Leon to come fix it. He's offering triple the rate. Chloe immediately says no. It's too dangerous. Specials caught in the genetics district without clearance face serious consequences. Leon says he knows a secret way in. Chloe, understanding she cannot stop him, goes along because somebody has to keep this man alive. They reach the restaurant. Leon begins repairs. For a moment, everything is calm, normal even, and then masked attackers pour through the doors. These are the anti-genetics, a violent extremist group that targets genetics civilians. They are brutal and fast, and within moments the restaurant is in chaos. The cook, now wearing his freshly repaired exoskeleton, runs out to face them and comes back moments later, dying. With his last breath, he tells them who attacked before collapsing. Chloe grabs Leon and says they need to run, right now. But the back exit is electronically locked. Security forces are already responding outside. They are trapped between attackers on one side and the law on the other. Leon does something impulsive and brilliant at the same time. He puts on the dead cook's exoskeleton. For the first time in his life, Leon stands up, his legs move, he takes a step, then another. There is no time to process this. The masked group enters the kitchen. Leon and Chloe press themselves behind the counter, barely breathing. The attackers search the space. For a moment it seems like they'll pass right by, and then Leon's exoskeleton glitches. A mechanical whir, a twitch of movement. He stands up involuntarily. They see him. The leader orders his death and Leon decides, apparently, that today is the day he finds out what he's made of. What follows is a kitchen brawl involving exoskeleton-powered punches, flying pans, and improvised chaos. During the fight, the attacker's mask slips, and Leon catches a clear look at his face. A distinctive, unmistakable scar running down his jaw. They escape. Barely. Together. Back home, they flip on the TV, and the news has already turned them into suspects. Security cameras caught them at the scene, and now their faces are being broadcast across the city. Then the reporter brings on Captain Hughes, head of the Special Forces, to comment on the attack. Leon goes completely still. The scar, the jawline, the eyes. It's him, the man in the mask. The leader of the anti-genetics attack is the same man now standing in front of cameras denouncing it. The implications hit like a freight train. Hughes is staging attacks on genetics, violent, terrifying attacks, and blaming them on the specials. Every assault